Welcome back to Tiny Blue Games. My name's of course Csaw or Chris, and today we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV in 2020. Today we have another double feature video. We are going to be looking at the Striking Tree hard, as well as the Bowl of Embers hard later on in the video. Let me know if you prefer doing the double feature videos like this, or if you preferred when I sort of had one video on the Saturday and one video on the Sunday, and kind of shorter videos. I don't know which way you guys prefer. It's pretty equal work for me, so let me know. But just before we get into that, I did want to show you guys I am purchasing my ironwork gear. I know a lot of you have been saying it in the comments, which is great because I did not know about it until I saw the first comment. However, now I've gotten so many comments about it. I just wanted to let you know I am doing it. However, I'm not wearing the gear in these two videos. But after this, after these fights, I should be wearing this gear. So there you go, you won, you did good. Thank you for making me a better player. But yeah, let's get into the fights. Alrighty, so we're gonna start with the Striking Tree, and first off the bat, I really love the aesthetic of this fight. Very different than a lot of fights, and I think it's one of my favorite kind of backdrops or skyboxes, if you will. Like, it's got a really nice mix of purples and blues, and then the lighting from these kind of mystical mushrooms look really cool too. I don't know if they're mushrooms, but they look pretty cool. And then the boss, let's be honest, has the most impressive beard that I've ever seen, which is just great as well. And I'm such a sucker for like a wizard with lightning. It's a big part of who I am. But yeah, let's get into it. It was such a cool encounter. I did look up some of the mechanics before doing this one, just to be on the safe side, but there was still some things that surprised me because I kind of, when I'm watching mechanic videos, I'm I have such a goal of soaking in all of the information, and then all of a sudden I'll have skipped like a minute and I'll be like, what just happened? So there's always some surprises as well, which is nice. But we got into the fight. I focused the boss, which is good, and we're going at it. I am healing again on the Scholar. It's pretty much the only class I've really been focusing on. And we just saw the first mechanic there with the sort of lightning circles that went on a few people. It's a very basic kind of stand out of the lightning, I believe. At least it didn't look very friendly. In terms of the actual damage output, so I have the circle here now, and I just kind of avoid everyone, and everyone takes a little bit of damage, or not even really, so it goes pretty good. And it does leave some sparklies on the ground, which are useful for later in the fight. This should not be taken as a guide. If you're a new player to Final Fantasy XIV, please don't watch my content as a guide to you. You can watch it as an entertainment source or as to see what Final Fantasy is all about, but I should not be trusted for passing along knowledge to other players yet. We just had someone DC, which wasn't great. We had no issues as it went on. It was a pretty easy fight, really. And I think it just comes down to everyone kind of knowing what was going on. So these ads do spawn, and in the video I watched, people made it very obvious that these ads had to be taken out pretty quickly because there's I think a large attack that depends on them being down to reduce the damage it does. So as the healer, I was like, all right, let's nuke this down real quick. I don't know how much I actually helped, but I was ready to go as soon as it spawned, which is, I did my part. So if we all wipe, at least I helped. But we don't wipe, so spoilers. We just keep going. There's some light AoE damage here and there, and then the tank sometimes takes a couple bursts, but it's really not anything crazy. I think this right here is the ultimate kind of attack that if you have those ads up, you're going to be in real trouble. And as you saw, having all the ads down really wasn't an issue. And I think based on a lot of people getting kind of scaled into this fight, it's not as hard as it was when it was first released. And I'm sure there was a lot more issues there. Oh, so here's another one. We have two people that have a sort of beam connected to them. And the mechanic with that is that they have to collect those little those sparks that are sort of left, and I believe it's one person needs to collect a certain stack of them to break the bond. And the video itself said that, you know, it's almost easier to have one person stand still and one person go and do it instead of both of you kind of collecting some of the stacks and not breaking it as quick. But I actually didn't have to focus on that myself, which is great. So I just kind of got to watch other people deal with it. The ads did spawn again, and I went to work, made sure I topped everyone up, and I believe our party member who DC'd came back, which is great. And everything was just really calm. Like, it was such a mellow fight, and it really worked with the atmosphere, and I don't know, I was a fan of the group. That's all I gotta say. These people were working well together, and it was a pleasure to heal them, which is always a nice feeling at the end of it when you're like, oh, good job, everyone. I think that's one of the best parts of MMOs in general, when you get put together with a bunch of random people from around the world, and you work together for, you know, the 10 minutes or an hour, whatever your run is, of whatever game it is, and you're like, hey, we just accomplished this awesome goal as a group of random people, and it just feels so good doing that. So I had a lot of fun, and I'm having a lot of fun with these encounters in general, moving between the Realm Reborn to the first expansion. And with the striking tree hard out of the way, we're going to move to the Bowl of Embers and revisit our old friend Ifrit. These are actually kind of side quests that you can do to unlock the hard versions of the primals. This is the first one that you unlock. I think it probably goes in the same order in which you did them originally. So it's not a required part of the main scenario quest, but I've been trying to keep actively doing some of the side stuff as well. There's so much content in this game. I have a little list, and every time someone in the comments mentions, hey, make sure you do this quest chain, or hey, make sure you unlock this dungeon, I add it to the list, and I try and work those in progressively as I go through the main scenario quest. It's really hard though, because I am super excited to get to the expansions, and I'm like, ugh, I just really want to go through the main scenario quest, but there is so much good content everywhere in this game, and I'm trying to be as open as possible about doing content that's around me, but I'm even myself, I'm limiting a lot of what I do and focusing on the main scenario quest. I can't even imagine if you were a player who was just about exploring the game. You know, you could be stuck in like the pre-level 50 areas for forever. Like there is so much to do. It is crazy. But enough about that. Let's talk about Ifrit. This is an extremely quick fight. There were more mechanics that I had to be aware of, and more damage for sure than the first version, but well executed, it goes pretty quick. And because of that, I kind of felt bad making it its own video, so I felt like, hey, let's stick these together. But like I said earlier, mention in the comments if you prefer that, or if you prefer 2 quick videos. It doesn't have much of a difference in terms of process time for me, so let me know. But yeah, the mechanics are very similar. It's got a lot to do with just more damage output. There are these kind of nails that come down, and we have to break through them. And then there's a lot of fiery AoEs that we have to stay away from. So you see the sort of scorched earth effect that comes underneath someone. After that, there's a huge eruption of fire, and you really, really have to watch out for that. But it's a pretty chill time. As a healer, I didn't have anything that I was super concerned about. There is kind of a final phase here where things get crazy, and I put my shield down, but I myself wasn't in the shield right away. I did stand in it, so it was, I think, a well-executed shield to protect us at the end there, which went really well. And, you know, I think ultimately this went about as well as I could hope. I'm having a lot of fun healing these days. I think it's really, really exciting and rewarding when you do put a shield or, you know, kind of precast an AoE heal that lines up just super well. This part was terrifying because I knew what was going to happen, and I barely got out of the other two's way, and I got hit by the first one, but if I got hit by the second one, I was probably in real trouble. So it was a pretty terrifying attack, and then the room sort of shrinks down a bit, and it's just a very, like, energetic fight. Like, it's quick, but it's, like, full, fast-paced the entire time, which is what I like in a fight. It's nicer with longer fights when there is kind of a faster and slower phase. But so I put the shield down in a very wrong spot there, and at this point in the fight, I'm just running, trying to keep alive. I'm going through AoEs. I'm like a chicken with my head cut off, but we do pull it off just in the nick of time, and we did it. So there we go. 2 hard trials done. Both of them great. I really enjoyed each of them a lot, and I'm excited to see what we do in the next set of videos with our ironwork gear. So thanks guys, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.